Hello everyone, and welcome to another New World video. Today we're going to be reacting and discussing New World's Forged in Aeternum latest community Q&A, and this is building off of the February dev update. And they've been working on a lot of things, especially as it relates to Season 5, and if you guys are new to the channel, the biggest thing that I'm excited about is the native controller support, which has actually made it harder to play the existing version of the game because I want that so much, and it is only just a couple of weeks away now, and so we'll be doing some live streams to celebrate when this officially rolls out to everybody, and I'm obviously very excited to see how this works. But we're gonna dive into the content here, and I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts along the way. So if you guys enjoy these kind of videos and this content, be sure to hit that like button like I already have on their video, which just went up. So we might see those numbers tick up here in a little bit. But yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. Let's dive into it.
Every time a player leaves or enters an instance, they are spammed with title achievements. Why limit the number of active artifact quests per character at all? What is the team's plan to fix missing lore notes? Any time frame on when the devs will play their first OPR map? We are slowing down to release quality updates, end quote, Scott Lane. Well, so much for that. Well, at least we got Crassus event.
Yeah, sometimes things get a little worse before they get better.
Oh man, bravo. I love how they do these intros and it feels like they're just slamming them. So those are going to be some of the questions we get to see here. Let's let it continue, because I absolutely am so happy with their level of communication. But we'll see what they got to say, how they're going to answer some of these questions.
Hello, community. Welcome to the February community Q&A. I'm here with Scott, and as you can see, we have an empty seat because Dave V, well, he said he's either going to be late or he's going to send a replacement, and we'll just have to wait and see. So today we're going to be taking your, oh wait, here we go.
Speaking of which,
look who's back.
All right.
I'll just mosey on in here.
Welcome
Sorry
back,
guys,
Katie.
I was in traffic for the last 5
6
months.
Now look who's back. Speculation can end. Katie's here.
Alive.
Before we start, I just want to touch on something really quickly, which is we're going to answer a bunch of questions here. But as you noticed in our last Forged in Aeternum, that wasn't with us, it was just a regular Forged in Aeternum, we answered some questions. So we're going to keep doing that until we hear from y'all that you don't like it. So the Winter Rune Forge mounts, there's going to be a few more coming that go into your questions. So don't feel bad if we don't get to it here, that we still might get to it in one of those.
Oh, good. Okay.
Otherwise, I think we're ready for the questions.
All right, well, I'd like to begin with a quote. We are slowing down to release quality updates, end quote, Scott Lane. Well, so much for that. Well, at least we got Crassus event, I guess. Shrug.
Yeah, sometimes things get a little worse before they get better. This is an example of that. You know, all I can do is tell you that when we make a mistake, we do what we call a correction of errors. We understand what the mistake was, and then we try to not make that same mistake again. We are slowing down, as we've talked about, and I can promise you that we're putting every effort we can in to make Season 5 a smooth, super fun, awesome, eventless, negative eventless release.
Exactly.
Good luck.
All right, so every time a player leaves or enters an instance, they are spammed with title achievements. This has been an issue for the longest time. Any plans on fixing this bug?
Yeah, so the first thing to note here is it's not anytime someone leaves, it's anytime certain people leave. And lucky me, I'm one of those, so I am, you too? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I am infuriated by this bug, but Katie doesn't have it.
I'm still infuriated by it, but it doesn't affect me.
The problem with that is it makes it really hard to fix because we're not sure if it's like your persistent state of you or something with your thing in the world or something that you're doing different or with your computer or your Steam connection. So I can't promise it's going to be fixed for Season 5. I can promise we're going to try, and I can promise that I complain about it to the team every single day.
This is gonna, if they don't get it fixed, I will see comments about this one because I see comments already. And yes, it is annoying when you get that title unlock spam or that achievement unlock spam.
Because it's frustrating as heck.
And if it does impact you, one of the things that you can do is when it happens, go into the in-game feedback tool. So open the game menu, go down to submit feedback, and then just say that you've hit the in-game spam issue, because we'll pull a bunch of data and a bunch of information from your report, and that really helps us dig in. So when it happens to you, you don't have to do it a bunch of times, you just need to do it once when you hit it. So just hit that in-game feedback tool.
And to add a little bit more to that, like for the longest time, we weren't able to reproduce that issue internally with like our QA team, and that's changed recently.
The ability to reproduce issues, like I wish that was a guarantee. The bugs that I love are the ones that are very consistent, and as a developer, hands down, spending that much, like it is, like I hate going back to the client saying unable to reproduce. Like I've modeled everything off of what I've been told, and so now that they're saying that they've been able to reproduce it, that ends up helping kind of really diagnose the issue, and then obviously get it fixed at some point.
We found kind of like what we thought was a smoking gun with like a race condition between our different services connecting and all that. And so there have been fixes made to that aspect of it. It looks like there's still some parts that still need a little bit more love. So it's ongoing, but like we're making good headway now.
Yep.
I'm just gonna ask, why limit the number of active artifact quests per character at all? Could it be removed or just increased to an outrageous number that doesn't get in the way of progression if the system requires a limit?
Yeah, so that's a great question. The reason we do that is because there's only so much capacity to store data about an individual character, and all the different parts of a character, all the items they have in all their storages, and quest progression and character progression, all that kind of stuff is kind of stored together for us. And if that goes over our limit, then you're gonna have issues with players not being able to load into the game or play. And so we have to be very careful to make sure we're not doing anything that's gonna push us over that limit. And so to help us there, we've been doing a lot of optimization work on reducing the size of that data we're storing. So we've done it for items, we've done it for some other things. We're currently in progress of doing that for objective data specifically. Nice. And that will let us increase that limit in the future. We actually did increase it from 5 to 10 recently, and for season 5. And so it'll be a little nicer in the near term, and then we'll be able to increase it further in the future.
When will you guys start to look into dead servers? Merge quicker than letting people suffer, or buy transfer tokens?
Well, I can assure you that we don't want you to suffer, and it's not our goal to get you to buy transfer tokens. That should be just something that you want to do of your own accord. We are currently looking at merges. There's some delays just because we have the team that generally does that. We have them working on something else that is super exciting, but it takes a little bit to get those resources back over to help us with those merges. But
Are they working on console? We'll see. I think so.
Can guarantee you that those are in the works, and so you should be seeing information soon, if not already, about server merges.
Do you look at data on the type of activities accounts spend most of their playtime on? I'd be interested to see here what percentage of players only do OPR, arenas, open world flag PvP versus those who just run endless expeditions and chest run.
Yeah, so I mean, you've all seen the dashboards and things like that. We definitely track player activity, what they're spending their time on. We kind of identify what kinds of players we have, heavy PvP, heavy PvE. We found that most PvP players also do a lot of PvE, right? And so there aren't a ton that are solely those activities that were listed there, only open world PvP, only OPR. And so generally, like the PvP intensive players are maybe like a third, roughly, of our player base, as of I think right now. But they also, around launch and like when the populations are bigger, that ratio is a little different.
It's a lot smaller, yeah.
But also the ones who play PvP primarily still do a lot of PvEing, right?
Yep.
So I think what's important about, I think it was a great question too, and what's important is when there's a lot of questions that come up like, we know everybody wants this thing I want, when actually there are segments of people, there's actually, I mean, everybody wants no crashes, that kind of stuff I agree with, but there are not a lot of game features or gameplay or content that everyone wants. There's a lot, so we try to hit the broadest spectrum. with the big paintbrush, and then over time, we also try to hit specific needs at other groups as well.
You still need a dedicated PvP kind of event, whether it ends up being like every 2 weeks it's on and then every 2 weeks it's off. But like as we see these PvE events roll in, I think for the PvP players in the community, like that would be also a signal of their support for PvP. Now, you don't need to be a PvP player to play and enjoy New World, but I think essentially that content is important, and I feel that it gets neglected. And I think one of the things that would really benefit that community, and it could literally be like an event that it's like, it could be 3 separate events, like open world PvP as like 1 week on and then it's off, and then the next week it's arena, and then the next week it's OPR. And so it's essentially just kind of an incentive, like this is happening. Obviously you want to build in some natural downtime to that, because otherwise you just kind of burn people out, and then you kind of add in an extra level of FOMO. But it's like, yeah, here's this, you know, like occasional thing that happens, or here's this thing that happens like on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, where it's on and off, and so that people have the opportunity to kind of jump into it and jump out of it, but something's happening. Obviously you need reward structures, the reason why you have the event in the first place. But again, all that ties back into investments within the game.
Musket traps affect mounts. Can mounts get trapped in a musket trap? And if not, why not?
I'm not sure if they will for Season 5. I don't know the positive answer. I think long-term they will. But the intention is when you're on a mount and you're shot in PvP, or I shouldn't say shot, hit, you'll dismount. And I don't know that we got there with the traps or not. We'll look into that.
Yeah, because those don't do damage. It's just a movement impairing effect.
Yeah,
and
it is the plan, but
I don't think it's going to make Season 5, but I think
I hope they address the mounts for non-expansion owners. That would be really nice.
the important thing here is, like, it's funny because I've seen some people, oh my God, it's so obvious, mounts are going to make OPR the best, and I've seen other people, mounts are going to ruin OPR. I think the first thing we just need to do is, like, let's just see what happens. Internally, we have a lot of fun when we're playing with mounts hitting OPR. Let's see what it does to the player, to the game, and if it has a positive reaction, we'll do more work toward it, and if it has a negative reaction, we'll make some changes.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
It's a game.
Yeah.
Let's have fun.
You said the loot for the worm raid was something you'd like to look at in the future, but it isn't currently on the to-do list. I have to ask, why has this occurred? This is your most challenging PvE content in the game. How is an expansion created and launched, but the rewards to what is essentially the top tier PvE content wasn't updated?
Yeah, so it is on our to-do list to update the sandworm trial rewards. So that is something that we are working on. So that's happening. I can't give you an ETA on it, but it is something literally that we are actively working on.
What is the team's plan to fix missing lore notes? Was documented in the old forums, as well as multiple bug reports. While it is understandable that without a fixed MSQ, lore will change, however, it is unacceptable that unobtainable or straight up missing lore pages have yet to be fixed.
I can take that one. So yeah, the intention is not to have any unobtainable or missing lore pages. Like, the journal should be completable by players. I know that for Season 5, we have a lot of fixes along those lines, and if there are other missing ones, please use our bug reporting tools to report them, and we'll prioritize them and fix them. But yeah, like, we're not leaving that broken intentionally.
Yeah, we agree it's unacceptable.
Any time frame on when the devs will play their first OPR map?
Yeah, I think it'll be somewhere around 2021. We've been playing it for years, so yeah. I think the question is saying that it's not fun or something like that, but it is one of our most played modes. We see the most replayability in it. I played, I think, 2 last night.
I think this is more a question about the meta and like the shift in meta. Like recently it was door PR, previous to that bow PR, which is still a little bit of bow PR going on. And then previous to that, it was just muskets, like, and there's still, again, like some of that coming back as well. So
well, we're doing adjustments with every release, and I think the door one is being adjusted in Season 5, if I'm not mistaken. So I can assure you that the decks play the game all the time. We're playing OPR almost every day.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Since we got Crossworld OPR and Expeditions, is there a chance we get Crossworld Arena in the near future?
Near. Yes, there is a chance. I cannot guarantee near, but that is definitely something that's banging around in our skulls.
Just be clear, near is not season 5.
No.
So like, please don't misinterpret that.
No.
Summer.
But yes, that is something that we are absolutely working on.
Okay, those are all the questions I got.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you for all the questions, and I'm totally looking forward to doing this again next month. If you like us, follow, subscribe, like, I guess. You think I'd remember this by like episode 72.
You've gotten so good at this since I was gone.
Otherwise, thanks Scott, thanks Katie, welcome back, and we will see you all in Aeternum.
On the next Forged in Aeternum, Balance of Power. That makes sense. All right, I thought that was really good. Obviously, the mounts in OPR is going to be interesting in Season 5, especially as it relates to that you have to buy the expansion to play them out. Like, I think that is something that I'd like to see them talk about or address at some point. But all in all, like, I'm very excited for controller support, and I think essentially as we look towards June, their big update, that's going to be kind of really where I think the rest of this year is defined. It is weird that we haven't seen the full roadmap for the rest of the year, but if they're just going to dole it out in kind of 6 months kind of time frame windows, that I think it's acceptable. I think we could get, you know, I can deal with that because they continue to make content. So it's really about, like, I do trust that the game will be getting updates this fall, for example. As to what we're going to be getting, well, honestly, I think it'd be kind of cool to have some surprises along the way. Now, I would prefer, as a gamer, like a year, at least a year's roadmap, and I'd actually prefer them go a little bit longer. Like, hey, here what we're thinking for year 4, year 5. But the further out you go, the harder it gets to commit. And I think when we see like a miss that we saw with the season 4 and having like the like the cross-world expeditions being delayed until just recently, which it works out really well. Like, honestly, I'm very excited to be playing more with you guys here in the near future. I think it's controller support, and that means content. We're going to be running some dungeons, or expa dungeons, as I like to say. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and this discussion. Looking forward to reading your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to hit the top link in the description for the Discord, as well as the podcasts and so much more. Love to have you on any of the other channels and content that I make here on YouTube. But outside of that, guys, just have a wonderful day. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Until then, take care.